everyone, Sharon here. Welcome to my channel if you haven't been here before, and welcome back to my channel if you have. It's good to have you back. Today we're going to be doing a Bible art journaling page on Luke chapter 24 verses 1 through 9. Actually, it might be 1 through 12, I'm sorry. It's the resurrection of Jesus. But at daybreak, on the first day of the week, they took the spices they had prepared and went to the tomb. They found the stone rolled away from the tomb, but when they entered, they did not find the body of the Lord Jesus. While they were puzzling over this, behold, two men in dazzling garments appeared to them. They were terrified and bowed their faces to the ground. They said to them, "Why do you seek the living one among the dead? He's not here, but he has been raised. Remember what he said to you while he was still in Galilee, that the Son of Man must be handed over to sinners and be crucified and rise on the third day." And they remembered his words. Then they returned from the tomb and announced all these things to the 11 and to all the others. The women were Mary Magdalene, Joanna, and Mary, the mother of James. The others who accompanied them also told this to the apostles. But their story seemed like nonsense, and they did not believe them. But Peter got up and ran to the tomb, bent down, and saw the burial clothes alone. Then he went home, amazed at what had happened. So today here I just drew a small tomb. I kind of made a mistake. I wanted to carry that rock all the way over to the edge of the page. You might want to do that. But instead it just made it smaller, which is fine. And I'm, of course, using my Inktense pencils, which is what I usually do. And I think I took the color amber and tan and mixed them together in order to get these colors. Now, when I'm going back with a darker brown. I can't remember which one, but it really doesn't matter because it wasn't dark enough. In order to give the illusion of a round object in more of a 3D type of look, I guess, so that it doesn't look flat on the page, you need to put shadowing around the edges. Like if you've ever done a video on how to draw a sphere, they teach you how to do that. You can even look that up on YouTube. And then underneath I just put a little shadowing. I wanted to lighten the top where the sun might be striking it, or where the light would be just a bit lighter. And then I did the same on the tomb as well, going around the edges so that you can carry that roundness of the opening and the back of the tomb. So here I'm going to paint this in, and you can see it's really not dark enough, but I didn't want to go too dark at first and make a mistake. So I just left it that way, and I think I'm going to go back then later with some pencil and make it darker. And on the tree, what I used was the color oak and also neutral gray. I don't like brown trees because you rarely will see a brown tree. So many of the trees are gray, and especially in Jerusalem they are. Even though I haven't been there, I've seen lots of pictures, and I know the olive trees have a gray bark and that kind of thing, and fig trees as well. So here I'm just painting it in, and I just fast forwarded over that or edited it out because you don't need to see me painting a tree for 5 minutes. And now I'm going to go in and do the shadowing of the inside of the tomb where it's dark and we can't see inside because the sun is bright. But on the edge of it I wanted to add a little bit of that tan in because you'd see the edge of the inside of the tomb. And I put it on the left because the tomb is sort of angled in that direction. If yours is different, you'll want to put it on the angled side. I used the neutral gray in there, and then I went in with a little bit of charcoal gray, excuse me, which is a little bit too dark. So now I'm going back and removing color because it was covering my words a little bit too much, the pigment, and I don't like to cover up my words that much. So So now I can't see what I'm doing because of my recording, but I believe I'm putting the green in. I don't know what I'm doing there. I'm sorry. Now I'm putting green on. There we go. Here I started out with, I believe, Hooker's green, and I'm just scribbling in color around the branches where I'd like the color to be. You don't have to be real precise with this because when you paint it, those lines are all going to disappear. But I don't like it just one tone, so I go back with a deeper green, I believe it was dark green, and I add that in some of the areas where the leaves would be thicker and more shadowed. And I just do it fairly quickly and lightly, and then I'm going in with my brush. I wet it, and then I start with the lighter colors on the outside and work my way into the darker color. And I'm dabbing the excess pigment off of my brush so that I don't mix the colors together too much. It's a very easy way to do a tree. You don't need much detail. Now here you see me stretching my page out. I do that in order to prevent wrinkling of my Bible page, and it really helps to lower that issue because I don't use any medium on my page when I'm doing this style of, Inktense pencil or maybe colored pencil. And then the distant hills, I decided to do them green. I was going to add in a little bit of the tan too and make it a little more patchy, but it's all right. It doesn't have to be super realistic or anything. This is just a simple landscape that is not hard to do. I wanted to add a little bit of green in, though, into the foreground so that it gave the impression that there were bits of green grass. And actually, I think I'm going to go back with my colored pencil and add a few sprigs of grass in those green areas just to give it some dimension. And now I'm going in with dark aquamarine into the sky. But in the lower part, I'm not putting very much pigment down, just a little bit. But on the top, I'm going to add a lot more pigment, and I'm going to use a heavier hand to apply it into the top area so that it's a little bit darker. You want your sky to kind of, it starts out deep, and then as you get closer and closer to the ground level, it fades out, usually like to white. Excuse me. So I tried to do that a little bit with my pencil, and I'm wiping off the excess pigment as I go so that I don't drag too much of it into the lower area. I really should have started with the lower area and worked my way up. And here I'm realizing that I should have done that. So now I'm starting at the bottom and pushing upward. And it pushes the pigment upward a little bit too. I used a little bit too much water in this spot, so you're going to see me dab it dry here. And then I see this white spot in the edge, so I just wanted to fix that. It was driving me crazy. So I'm just bringing that over to the edge of the page. Now, on the video, I didn't put a tab or show you that I was putting a tab on here. But I will use my tab maker, cut 2 of them, and then write on either side what my topic would be. And for this, you could put resurrection or something like that. There'd be an easy flip into your Gospel of Luke where the resurrection is. Of course, you can do this in any one of the Gospels that, where it talks about the resurrection. I just chose Luke. Actually, my Bible dropped open to that page today, and I thought, why don't I just do that? Now, you could stop right here, and it would be fine, whether you're using watercolor or whatever you're doing. But I decided to go in just a little bit with some Prismacolor pencils. And all I'm doing, I'm not doing that scribbling that I did on the last few pages. I'm just doing lines and coloring in darkened areas in the same areas that I put the paint, because it just wasn't showing up as well as I wanted. And I didn't want to keep re-wetting the page and, doing that over and over. So I just decided to get the pencils out. And I just go around the whole tree doing this. Not the entire tree, but just areas where the branches are, where the leaves would be a little more dense and there would be a little more shadowing on the leaves. I'm sorry, I'm having trouble with my throat today, my voice. Now when I finish that, I've decided that I wanted to go back in with a little bit lighter green. So I got my Hooker's green out again. And that first color was dark green. Now I'm using Hooker's green, and I'm kind of blending it out a little bit into the branches, but not all the way to the end. Because on the tips of the branches, I end up going back with a very light green. What color is that? That one is called Spring Green. So I went in with Spring Green and did the edges of the trees, and it really made the tree pop, I think. So I finished that up, and then I believe I'm going to go ahead and do the writing after that. So you see where I went underneath the branches a little bit, where they might have been dangling down and the light was catching them. And then I also did the upper branches. And now I'm going back with a deeper brown Prismacolor pencil to put more shadowing on the edges of the tomb and the rock in order to give it a more spherical type look. And I'm just doing it very quickly. I'm not obsessing over it at all. You don't want to bring it all the way to the top, because the top is catching more light. And of course on the ground you get that same effect, both from shadowing and just, being a little darker, being set against the stones. Now I'm trying to decide what to do next. Now, like I said, you didn't have to go back in with these pencils. You could have stopped right there. This is my Tombow, what's it called? Tombow Feud. Oh, it's a calligraphy pen, the Tombow calligraphy pen. It's the soft one, I believe. And I'm using that just to write my words. And I'm writing in here, He is risen. And then I decide to add Alleluia onto it. Just wanted to make sure I had enough room there, so I just kind of imagined the letters first. I had to kind of squeeze it a little bit, but it's all right. I could have gone down over the tree, down the left side. And this just goes to show you don't need a note-taker's Bible to do this. I covered my whole page. Everybody have a terrific day and do something nice for someone.